So we did now push our main branch to GitHub. Now let's say we're developing a new feature or a bug fix, and therefore we're creating a second branch. Let's say what we want to do here is we want to group these paragraphs into a section. It's of course a trivial change and wouldn't require a separate branch, but it's just a demo. So here I want to create a separate branch, and therefore, just as you learned it before, we can create such a branch with the git branch command, or if you want to check out that branch immediately by using git checkout -b and then the name of the new branch. And here I will simply name it feat, short for feature, section. If I hit enter, this branch is created and we automatically switched to it, as it's also saying here. And now we can make that change that should be made, which in my case here simply means that I add this section and I wrap this around these two paragraphs like this. So that's my change now. Again, a trivial change, but good enough for this demo. Now, after saving this file, I want to stage this change and I want to create a new commit, a new snapshot, but I want to do that in this separate branch because maybe the feature isn't fully finished yet, or for other reasons, we're not quite ready to merge it into the main branch. Therefore, again in the terminal, I will stage all files or just the index.html file, does not matter since it's the only file that changed. And then I create my commit where I say added section. That sounds like a good description for this change. So now we added this commit to this branch, to the feat section branch. And now I also want to push this branch to my remote repository because I want to have that code on GitHub as well so that it's backed up, I could work on it from different machines, and so on. Therefore, what I'll do is I will git push to my origin, so to this remote GitHub repository, and I'll push this feat section branch. It's the same command as we used it before, and alternatively, we could also use this set upstream approach from before, which we used for the main branch, for this feat section branch as well, so that in the future, all we have to do is run git push whilst being in that branch locally. Here I'll use this slightly longer form though, confirm this, and this now pushes this code to this remote repository. Now, on this remote repository, we should immediately see a little message here. And if you reload this page, this dropdown here now also shows you this second branch. And on GitHub, you can then also switch between these branches. We can, for example, select this branch, and if we have it selected in this code, which we can browse on GitHub, we see this change with the section being added. If, on the other hand, I switch back to the main branch, we see that for the index.html file, this section is not there. And that's, by the way, also important. On GitHub, you can browse this code. You can even edit this code from GitHub and merge it with your other code from there. We're not going to do this here, but you could do that. You might also notice this compare and pull request button, which I have here, and I'll get back to pull requests a little bit later because this is a key GitHub feature, but I'll get back to it in the future. So now I have my branch here on GitHub. If I am now ready to merge this feat section branch into my main branch, we could do this from inside GitHub, but I will do it locally here by again checking out my main branch and then running git merge feat section. Now this is merged automatically again, and we get a little summary here. And now, of course, I can run git push to push this updated main branch, which has these merged changes, to GitHub. Here, by the way, no separate commit was created, and I didn't have to confirm or enter any commit message after performing the merge, because Git was able to perform this merge by simply appending this new commit to the other commits instead of creating a new commit. It simply depends on the complexity of changes you have and whether there are any clashes that must be resolved by Git, whether you have to create a separate commit when merging, or if a commit from another branch can simply be appended to the commits of the main branch. So now I performed this merge and I pushed my updated main branch. And therefore, of course, this is also reflected on GitHub. Here in the main branch, if I inspect index.html, I also see the section here. But that's how we can also push multiple branches to GitHub. By the way, if you then have a branch on GitHub, which you don't need anymore, like this feed section branch, you can also delete it from there by clicking on View All Branches here. And then there you see this feed section branch. And if you click this trash icon, it will be deleted. You could now also restore it, but now it's gone from GitHub because we don't need that branch there anymore. It still exists locally, as you see if you run git branch, but of course there you can also delete it with the command I already showed you earlier in the course, with this command here. So that's how we can work with multiple branches and GitHub.